And we're live! We're live! I'm gonna clap back, Alex. Hold over. You know what I mean? By the way, before we dive into this stuff, I want your reaction to conspiracy theorist Joey Spencer. You know, because we gotta do our PR for Tim Zoo thing. You know what I mean? So, and I don't know if you had a chance to hear this, so I'm gonna play it. And I don't know what your reaction to it will be, but this is Joey Spencer talking to a Glovegate conspiracy theorist back in, like, I think in 2020, whenever it was, and confirming that this was a known thing in Detroit that was done. And I just, I want to play for the audience and everybody watching. So
people who say, "Oh, that didn't play any part in it," it definitely, 100%, was hitting with the bare knuckle. I literally, you can see it in the video. But not only that, it's not that this is just like I'm pulling that out of my rear. I'm not just saying like I believe that. It's my opinion. That is a real thing. Not only that, but he trained in Detroit for the early part of his career. I grew up in Michigan. I trained in Detroit my whole life. That was a thing that Detroit guys would teach and do in the gyms, and even in sparring. But even in amateur fights, they would put the gloves on that way, and they would loose and flappy, put the wrist on the knuckle on purpose, and they would actually teach you to do it. That's an old school trick that's been used in gyms in Michigan at least, and maybe even more than that, probably in more cases than we know of, for a long period of time. Right? They obviously.
Oh.
By the way, Chronic Jim responded to that clip that I posted on X, and it said that's not true. We don't do that at all. We actually do a thing called skinning where we put the gloves really tight, actually. But what he thought, the floppy glove thing is like a weapon that was used in Detroit. Any thoughts?
No thoughts.
What do we do?
What's
from
his
Flappy?
What's his deal, by the way? Like, why is he coming up right now? What's his deal?
He's going to be fighting Tim Zoo.
Oh, okay.
April 6th.
About that. I forgot.
Remember you said we got to start catering to the Caucasians in America?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? This is it. These are the Caucasian boxers, by the way, that we're putting out. This is it.
We got to get the PR going again, is what we need to do. We need to get the Tim Zoo PR team rolling again.
I just want
the paychecks. The paychecks are rolling back in, D-style. The paychecks are rolling back in, so we got to get the PR working again.
We got to get it working again. And shout out to Remy, by the way. I appreciate it, brother. It's just salute, fellas. Salute to you, brother. But this is crazy. He was like 20 years old, talking about how, they've always done this in Detroit. Detroit's been through enough. They don't need Joey Spencer like dragging Detroit's name in the mud still. Like what's going on right now? You know what I mean? What are they doing?
Their football team loses every year. They got to listen to Clarissa Shields all the time. Isn't she from Detroit, somewhere up there?
Yeah.
About how she's the GOAT or whatever. So
from floppy.
Here we go talking about female boxing again at the start of the show. Good Lord. We do it every time.
No, well, look, like I'm a supporter of female boxing, just for the record. Alex, he's a machista type of dude. Like he don't believe in that. You know what I mean? But shout out to them anyway. And we're gonna go from floppy glove to sloppy Mauricio. All right. Mars Boxeo says saludos, compas. How's it going, brother? Glad to have you here. Chico in the building. Why did Mauricio change his tune and make the TKO feelings public? When is that Jay interview part 2 coming?
Oh yeah, I haven't talked to you about that yet. We'll talk about that off air. Jay Chaudhry wants to come back on, so we'll have him on a podcast this week to talk name, image, likeness. How does this affect that? The Saudis, the zone, all things boxing landscape. So we'll have to get that popping later on this week.
All right. Well, shout out to Chico.
Man, that nigga was that Japanese guy was in shape.
He is in shape too. I heard a rumor that Chico's on that LeBron James juice. I heard he's on that HGH, the TR.
Does that make him flop to everything? Like if he's in a grocery store and it kind of
Drew doesn't flop.
If the cart touches him a little bit, does he like throw himself on the ground? Like, you know what I mean? Like, does he do that? No. Chico, speaking of Chico, women's boxing, women in the kitchen sounds better.
Oh no,
We're not gonna do
Chico.
this.
We don't do that. We don't do
We don't
that,
want to do
bro.
that. We don't want to do that.
We don't. And yesterday was International Women's Day, and this dude is dropping super chats like that.
Oh man,
it's International Women's Day weekend, bro. Come on.
Look, if you guys want to post questions, we're going to be a little. This is just like a Sunday special. I do turn 41 years of age today, by the way.
Oh wow! Happy birthday! I did not know that.
Yeah, so it was just yesterday on the phone when I told Alex it's my birthday tomorrow, but it's okay. You already forgot.
There's a lot going on.
But man, I got my fair share of gifts, birthday gifts today. You know what I mean? I've been going back and forth with people. It turns out diehard boxing fans don't even know how the sport runs. Like they want to talk about how we shouldn't change anything. It's fine the way it is, even though they've been complaining for years, right? I mean, I'm trying to understand, and I appreciate that, DJ Mexicano Tejas. Sloppy Mauricio Sulaiman, right? Sloppy Mauricio came out today, and he said, all of a sudden, oh, this is a good thing. Well, we love the fact that a league is coming in, and all of it. He's all for it. You know what I mean? These dudes got no fucking backbone, bro. None. Like it's illegals against everything the sanctioning body's about. But you see how they don't have a backbone? These are the people that you guys are gonna like this is it. These are the people that are supposed to stand. They wouldn't even stand up to a drunken Jamal Charlo, bro. You think they're gonna stand up to Trick Out Chick? Shout out to Chico again. And on International Women's Day, I posted the vintage Macho Man clip telling Elizabeth not to speak and to go sit in the corner. Yeah, Elizabeth. Why are you talking right now with the Macho Man Randy Savage? Is speaking right now. Go over there. Go to the kitchen, woman.
You're a good impressionist. You really are. You're a good impressionist.
That's not my thing, by the way. But shout out to Chico.
You, there. What is your profession?
I'm a potter, sir.
And you, Acadian. What is your profession?
Sculptor, sir.
Don't have Chico ask the women. He'll be like, "What is your profession?" No, you don't. No, you belong in the kitchen. Like, you know what I mean? Like it is what it is. But man, Remy, happy birthday, hardworking man. Absolutely. Let me guess. Like we already know what you want.
I'm a hardworking man.
There we go. All right, and Nando, shout out. We know when Nando's over here. Like it is what it is.
I'm a hardworking man. I wear a steel hard hat.
There we go. Appreciate the support, guys. Calex, Sloppy Sulaiman. What is your opinion about everything that's going on right now? There's so much. Like I don't even know where you want to start. But what have you gathered since the last time we were live? What do you want to like express?
A lot of posturing, and so remember when Canelo? You remember the last Canelo news cycle? You remember that? And you remember how confusing it was? And you remember how a Canelo news cycle does that to people, right? Yeah. And what I'm learning is a Dana White news cycle also does the same thing to people. It just triggers people. And you have the people with the derangement syndrome who they will react to every little thing that these guys do. And that's going to be the new thing with Dana White in the sport. Everything Dana does is going to be magnified. And the boxing people don't want him in the sport, and they're gonna hang on to every little thing, right? But with that last Canelo news cycle, there was a lot of public posturing, a ton of public posturing. Do you remember how it went down? Like it was Canelo's gonna do this, Canelo's gonna do that, and then both sides were playing the media game, right? It was Turki Al-Sheikh was using Ring Magazine to put out. It seemed conflicting reports, right? one report here, one report there the next day. And it got confusing. And then it seemed like Canelo was using the ESPN side to put out reports, and some of them were fake, some of them were real. And it got super confusing. That's where it seems like we're at right now with pretty much everything. In particular, the Bivol Benavidez news that's dropping today. I would urge people to sit on that and wait. I would strongly urge people to sit on that one and wait before you jump to conclusions, because we just don't know what's happening. What did we have yesterday? We had Bivol come out. His team came out publicly and said, "I can't wait to work with Turkey. I look forward to working with him further." Turkey put out something earlier than that saying, "Bivol, you better not forget who made things happen for you." And we talked about that off air, right? How the WBC, they really made Bivol's life a career a mess there for a while, because they refused to allow him to fight for a belt because he was Russian, which to me,
how dare he? How dare he?
Disgusting. And by the way, sanctioning bodies looking out for fighters again, right? And we can talk about that ad nauseum, and we will. But I would urge people to sit on this one and wait, because this is going to be one of those where I think you'll have a news report drop, and then everybody will jump there, and then something else will drop, and then we're way back over here, right? And there, I think both sides are playing that game again, and there's posturing going on here from WBC, other promoters. Other promoters have been quiet about what's going on with TKO, and I'm sure they're trying to get their ducks in a row. And then Dana White, he's being kind of coy as to what's going on. And then Turkey is throwing his weight around. So I have my theories on what this could be. I'd like to hear what you have to say first, but I have my theories on what could be going on behind the scenes with the Bivol better be of stuff, WBC, and just this particular issue and how it could play out on a macro level going forward.
Well, first, shout out to Chico again with the 499 super chat. He says, "Why aren't you condemning Mario Lopez for hanging out with Andrew Tate at the UFC fights like Lou DiBella and parts of the boxing Twitter?" You gotta know when people just clutch their pearls, like on Twitter, right? Like they just clutch their pearls, like they clutch them like this, and they're like, "I can't believe Mario Lopez shook hands with Andrew Tate." Like, don't you guys have anything else to worry about? Like, what? Like, are you like following Andrew Tate? Like how is this even? I didn't even know that, by the way, until I saw it like on my feed, and like, what are you saying exactly? Because a lot of the same people I'm seeing so angry at what's happening. I mean, Tank Davis literally put his hands on a woman, and it's on camera, right? Like from the fucking collar and shit. All right. A lot of these, I mean, what are we doing? He ran into a pregnant woman, didn't help her, and hit and run. But you don't see me clutching my pearls and, oh my God, why are people, shaking hands with fucking Tank Davis? Who gives a shit? The way I see it.
Saudi bought a board seat on DAZN last month. So Saudi is owned 10% of DAZN. So that's another thing to look out for, the network game, right? The promoters, from what I see, if they're boxed out, and let me just throw this out here, D-Style, is there's a lot of overreactions right now. There's going to be a lot of things that happen in the next 12 to 18 months. And there are going to be a lot of dust-ups that we've seen this week so far from the Canelo news conference with William Skull, right? We talked about that, how it's sort of mixed signals, right? Because this probably isn't the fight to roll out "we don't care about belts," because it's literally the only reason this fight's happening, right? Is because William Skull has this trinket. But you had that. Then you had the WBC sort of like, don't like that. And then you got the Bivol Benavidez stuff with WBC trying to jump in there. And then now allegedly PBC and Matchroom are trying to put together a fight.
Yeah.
With the Saudis over there. Apparently, saying, Bivol don't go over there, which once again, we gotta wait and see how that plays out. I have my theories, but what I'm saying is there's a lot of posturing, there's a lot of maneuvering going on. But what I'll say is the Saudis definitely have a good positioning right now because of the network game and the funding. You said something on your live yesterday, I believe it was, that people need to understand is we hear a lot from boxing fans about A side, B side when it comes to fighters, right? But that doesn't stop with the fighters, it extends out to the promoters, right? So right now, who is the A side as far as promotion? It looks like Riyadh season and possibly TKO going forward. They definitely have the pole position, it looks like, as far as funding, as far as a war chest, and on top of that, the networks because they have the zone. And what I would be worried about if I was a promoter is, you think you're going to be welcome with open arms in the future at the zone, but are you?
Yeah.
Are you? And where else are you going to go? And this is what the PBC fans don't want to hear is your boy definitely burnt a lot of bridges, but he didn't burn a lot of bridges just for himself. He burnt a lot of bridges for the sport as a whole. HBO, Showtime, NBC, CBS, AB, they burnt a ton of bridges. So you only have so many places you can go now. You only have so many places you can go. And it takes a serious person. It takes a serious company with a lot of money in the war chest to be able to command a Netflix, a DAZN, stuff like that. And that's something I'm interested in hearing Jay Chaudhry's opinion on that stuff, because he said for a while, he's been saying for years, DAZN is going to be the major player in sports, and it looks like that's coming to fruition.
Yeah. Now, first, I just want to give a shout out to Chico and for those super chats, and I want to wish him a happy Feliz Navarrete. Feliz Navarrete. Feliz Navarrete. Feliz Navarrete. Prospero año y felicidad. Feliz, the beautiful thing about Feliz Navarrete, it's all year long.
All year long.
All year long.
365 days of Feliz Navarrete every year. Every year.
Absolutely.
All the time.
What's your theory? Is he asking both of us, or is he asking you?
I want to hear what you think about that, and then I'm gonna bounce off of it. Bivol Benavidez.
Well, here's like I think what's happening is just actually pretty straightforward. I don't think it's that complicated. So one, right? After the rematch, obviously, Bivol fought Benavidez. He got the win, and we know that from the very start. Remember, they both made statements, Mauricio and Turkey, before the fight, right? Turkey made it clear if Bivol wins, right? And I'll get to super chats in a little bit. I just don't want to lose my train of thought. If Bivol wins, right, I want to do a trilogy. He made that very clear. Okay. And then Mauricio came out. He actually did an interview saying, "Oh yeah, yes. After the Morale fight, of course, the winner needs to fight Benavidez." And he kind of skipped the line a little bit because it's not really the turn of the WBC, really, to be doing a mandatory. But they both kind of did little, they made little pawn moves on the chessboard before the fight even happened. The fight happens, right? Mauricio collects his 3% from that fight, and they made it very clear. We're going to do this trilogy, right? Sloppy Sulaiman comes out and they order the fight. And to me, that was from Turkey's perspective, that was a direct insult to what he's trying to do here. Right?
So Turkey made it known he wanted the trilogy first. Is that what happened?
Trilogy. He did say that he wanted the trilogy if Bivol wins the fight.
Okay.
The condition was Bivol had to win. Right, or else it wouldn't really make sense, right? Mauricio also made statements that the winner has to fight Benavidez, though, right? Both those things are contradictory in each other, right? Now, if Benavidez would have won, maybe all this is it's a whole different story, right? But obviously they're looking at two different things. And from Turkey's perspective, it's, we're the ones putting up the money. We're the ones paying for all this. You're the one collecting money. You're the one getting 3%. You're not paying anything into this money show, right? Mm-hmm. We're working with you. We're doing a Grand Prix for you and everything that we're funding, right? That we're allowing you to promote and all that. Like, what about your Grand Prix and all that? Don't you, like, in other words, you're not playing ball, right? It's kind of like there's a lot of unspoken things that should be understood that Mauricio obviously didn't understand, right?
And why do you think Mauricio is not playing ball?
Well, I believe Mauricio feels that there's some form of control that the WBC and the sanctioning bodies are losing, right? Mm-hmm. He knows they've given away a lot of power, but he wants to make sure there's some type of, kind of a little bit of a check on Turkey, like, hey, by the way, we are the sanctioning bodies, right?
I want to make sure you're headed in the right direction, because as our guy Nando points out eloquently, we have such a good chat. I love our chat. The WBC, the sanctioning bodies are now. That's why when people talk about checks and balances, and by the way, we didn't forget about the super chats. We'll get there. The sanctioning bodies, they're not checks and balances. The commissioners are no longer checks and balances. There are no checks and balances in boxing. They don't exist. So when these people throw out checks and balances, there's no checks and balances. They don't exist. It's like the Harry Potter, checks. The Harry Potter thing when they have like these mythical wands, and then people go to Disneyland and play with these mythical wands, and bro, they don't do anything. It's a movie. Like, it's not real. They don't work. There is no checks and balances in boxing. It's make believe. It doesn't exist. It does not exist. I want people to understand that before we go forward. Checks and balances don't exist in boxing. Why? Because there may have been a time. It may have been a time at the very beginning when sanctioning bodies came around to be the checks and balances, but now they're the extension of.
What I'm saying is there's only checks, and what I mean by checks are checks.
Checks.
That's it. There's no balance.
Sometimes they're passed above the table. Sometimes they're passed underneath the table. So
there's no balances because those with the most money, the most power, have the heavier weights on the scale. So there's nothing balanced. Right.
But it's Bloods, Crips. But all these guys gang up and form unions, alliances, and sometimes alliances change. And I think what we're seeing now is alliances changing. And now what it used to be, D-Style, was PBC. We don't make other promoters rich. We don't do it. We don't do that. Top Rank over here, Golden Boy over here. PBC comes along. We don't work with y'all. We don't do any of that.
So yesterday, I mentioned that they've developed like a sugar daddy, sugar baby relationship, right? Meaning the sugar daddies, well, that's the Saudis, right? Yeah. And these promoters, fighters, even, right? But the promoters, sanctioning bodies, they've gladly taken the role of a sugar baby, right? Because they don't have to put anything up. Like, the Saudis are paying for everything, right? And I think they've always known this isn't forever. I think they've always known, like, everyone in the back of their heads, like, okay, what is it? Like, what's the ultimate goal here? Like, this isn't a lifetime, like, charity case. They're just going to be funding boxing forever out of the kindness of their hearts. That's definitely not what it is, right? So to me, right now, the sugar babies, right, they're kind of revolting a little bit. That's kind of what it was, right? Once in a while, the sugar baby wants to feel independent and like they don't really need the sugar daddy, right? Yeah. So they do a little bit of a power move. That's all this is. It was just moves on the chessboard. But I think once Mauricio figured out that, like, bro, like, Turkey knows what you're doing, right? It is why he came out with the statement he did today, right? And I think that's what it is at the end of the day. And, like, the sanctioning bodies want to keep a veil of an appearance of power, right? They want and they want to keep kind of like the perception that they're important, and they feel less and less important the more they capitulate to the Saudis. So I think that's what this was. I think it was just Mauricio trying to show, like, yo, we're still the WBC. We still enforce what we want to enforce. We're not in the pockets of anybody, even though they are, but they don't want people to, to think that of them. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, but sanctioning bodies don't move unless they know they have their thugs with them, their other thugs with them, right? So what Nando's getting at, and what I agree with, is they don't move unless PBC, Matchroom, these guys are saying, look, man, I need your help with this. We need to get this fight. I need you to mandate this fight. Let me give you some examples too of why there are no checks and balances. Before I say that, like these new alliances that are going to form, these sugar babies, like you say, they know they have to now play ball with each other, form alliances to compete, right? It used to be we're the only players in town. We're fractured. We're going to stay over here. Y'all stay over here. We'll do our thing. Y'all do our thing. But now they burnt through all the networks, right? The Top Rank's not going to have ESPN money coming in. Showtime, HBO, all these people are gone, right? They're all gone. So all you have left is the Zone, Netflix. Amazon's not putting any money up they're not getting any money out of that. So they're going to have to form new alliances, and it's going to be, this is why it's entertaining to me and it's comedic relief, because I get to see people who have been spreading certain talking points for years now, at least a decade, now all of a sudden change up. Before it was, those belts don't matter. Now it's the belts are all meaningful, right? And then before it was A side, B side, and if you want to be big time, you need to come over to the PBC and Showtime because they know how to do it. Now that's out. That's out. Now we're willing to work with anyone. We're willing to work with anyone for quality control, right? You're going to hear all of these new terminology. Before it was, we're not worried about the Ali Act. Yeah, bro, you got a guy over here acting like an advisor. We all know he's a promoter and manager parading as an advisor, and he's skating around the Ali Act. But now they care about the Ali Act. Now it's Ali Act, Ali Act, Ali Act, Ali Act, Ali Act. Bro, we don't care. You had a decade plus to educate us on the Ali Act and do your investigative journalism on the Ali Act, and you didn't. Right? So
this is where I believe we're going, and I agree. If I'm right. PBC, and in this case Matchroom or whatnot, approached the WBC and said, hey, we need your help here. Sanction this fight so we can make this Bivol Benavidez fight happen, right? And we know that the clear signal that that's what they're doing is that Canelo's been with PBC for how long now? And they would never did the WBC step up and sanction order the fight with Canelo and Benavidez.
Yep.
Why? Because it wasn't in their interest at that moment to try to ruffle any feathers or whatever. Like, because at that point, Canelo was their top client. It was the top draw. So they didn't give a shit about Benavidez at that point, right? But now it's like, well, Bivol's he's not a PBC fighter, so we could get one of our PBC fighters to fight for the WBC belt. And in this case against Bivol, hey, let's whatever influence we have, because they must have. We've always joked about they must have something. Look how long they keep Jamal Charlo as a WBC champion, right? Obviously, they've decided in this case, right, that they're going to go ahead and make the move because they see, that. For whatever reason, the PBC, and I think it's obvious why, they see Turkey as a direct competitor now, especially with the partnership that they're brewing with TKO.
Yeah, before I give more thoughts on Bivol Benavidez, real quick, let me further explain why the checks and balances stuff is just complete BS. And then we'll get to the super chats. But so I'll give you current examples. Lamont Roach goes into a fight. And it starts before that, right? Because Tank Davis has a belt, and for whatever reason, he's able to keep the belt without fighting a guy in his weight class, right? They can't get this guy in the ring with somebody in his weight class, and why would they, right? Why would they do the work to try to force his hand, right? And on top of that, he's emailed the belt. He gets the belt without having to fight somebody. He had a Reggie belt. He gets emailed the real belt. Doesn't fight anybody in his weight class to get it. Doesn't defend against anybody in his weight class. And then up pops Lamont Roach, minus 2,000, favored against Lamont Roach. So what happens? Lamont Roach walks into the fight. Shockingly is in the fight. And then in the 9th round, knocks him down. Tank Davis takes a knee. The referee starts counting. Tank Davis goes to his corner. His team comes up on the ropes, which should be a disqualification. Tank Davis comes back out and says, "You thought you were counting, but actually you're not counting." The referee says, "Okay, yeah, my bad, I wasn't counting." In between the rounds, they're supposed to check the footage to see if it's really a knockdown. We have some sort of weird Epstein dying in prison footage breakdown to where the cameras go down right at the right time. The cameras go down. You have blind judges who majority draw when everybody saw Lamont Roach won the fight. So this is when the checks and balances come into play, right, D-Style? This is when they come into play, because especially when it comes to, and this is where the sanctioning bodies really kick in, because the sanctioning bodies are supposed to fight for those poor, underprivileged fighters who aren't as privileged as those A-sides, and make sure they get the fights, even though they can't get Tank to fight these poor, underprivileged fighters within his own weight class, right? They're supposed to speak out for these fighters and do the right thing. And what happens? WBA does nothing. New York State Athletic Commission, nothing. So I'm confused. We have a current example. Where exactly are the checks and balances? Because now Dana White's in this sport, and we're all worried about our checks and balances. Our checks and balances. Sanctioning bodies are supposed to be there as a check and balance. And then the athletic commissions, checks and balances. And we got to make sure the Ali Act that nobody can define, by the way. It's just this magical thing that nobody knows what it is. And there's all kind of loopholes to it, to where a guy can become an advisor, to where he can magically work as a promoter and manager at the same time and just call himself an advisor and rape and pillage the Ali Act. But I'm trying to show you, this is just one specific example of how there are no checks and balances. They're all working, and there's more. Bro, it's a uniparty system, like this swamp that nobody will ever be able to drain. And the beautiful part about it, their scam, is they can get boxing fans to argue for it to continue. They'll get fans. They'll get boxing fans to argue against boxing fans' interest just to keep their scam going. It's amazing. Like it truly is amazing. Like I'm in awe of it. I'm in awe of the talent that it takes to do that. Like seriously, I am. Like the marketing talent that it takes to be able to run that scam without any type of other talent. It's amazing, but there are no checks and balances. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. But let me just get to just so we could get them through here. The super chats. Sancho the Goat with 50 pesos right there, 50 Mexican dollars. Bivol will school David and will come back to the zone. It's an easy fight. Ecuadorian Sasquatch ain't like that, right? I do agree. I do think, oh my God, I do think that Bivol will tame El Monstro. That's
what's
for sure.
50 pesos? What's that in USD? What's that?
I think it's like, I forget. I think it's like 7 or 8 per dollar, something like that.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, I appreciate it, brother.
Shout out to Mexico.
That's right. Chico with the 199 super chat. That Sad Sack Sal Saudi boxing hats will go viral. That's right.
Let me tell y'all something right now. First of all, I support Sad Sack Sal and his hat game, and I will have those, and I will be promoting those as soon as he gets them to me. And I should be the first one to get them, by the way, because I've been asking for those Saudi hats for a while now. But what I will say is, shout out to Rick Glazer, who followed me on Twitter last night. So let me tell y'all something. Y'all better not. I don't want to hear any Rick Glazer slander here. If Sad Sack Sal comes around with this Rick Glazer slander, and Chico comes around with this don't do it.
I'm in Sal's corner. I got your back, Sal. Don't listen to Cal.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. Shout out Rick Glazer.
I need to get my discounts for his capsules, so I ain't gonna talk shit. Like, you know what I mean? It is what it is. But shout out to Chico, man.
Man, that nigga was that Japanese guy was in shape.
Right. Sanctioning bodies don't want the sport more legit and organized because that brings oversight when more blue chip corporate money is in the sport. Okay,
this is exactly. But before you go forward, D-Stop, that is a big part of it. It works that way with everything. You have to make it more complex, more complex, more complex, more complex. That way, it's always muddy, and then people don't know up from down, and you can continue to run these scams. And the beautiful part about the scam is you get these people.
I got some examples that we'll go over a little bit.
You program them. You program the public into the Stockholm syndrome stuff to run with your narratives, talking points, checks and balances, Aliak, and they don't understand. They don't realize where these talking points are coming from. These dudes with these spaces, man, I'm telling you right now, these are bad actors. These dudes with these Twitter spaces, X spaces, who come on here with their sanctioning body people to have interviews, and their promoters and their power brokers to have interviews, and they start pushing these talking points, and they have these shadow accounts. I'm telling you, and you dudes start to repeat it. This is swamp behavior. It's make things complex, and then brainwash people into thinking that it's so complex that you just can't understand it. And because you don't understand it, we need these people around, and we need these people around for checks and balances. These are serious people. And what I'm telling you is these people are not needed. And I'm giving you examples of why. The fact that nobody did anything about the Lamont Roach thing.
Right.
What does that tell you? Like, you have a commission there, you have a sanctioning body there.
And you know how they come back to us, Alex?
They're all saying,
but you know what their comeback is? Their comeback is always, well, look at what they did to Martinez against Cintron. They never, guess who was in charge? The same sanctioning bodies and the same commissions. Oh, well, what about when this happened? Guess who was in charge? Guess who was in charge? Right? Same people. I'm just putting that out there. Chico, those promoters now have to put up their own moolah, their own money. They got to put that up themselves, okay? I'm just going to put that out there.
Saying it's all Crawford's fault, basically. That's what
No, but in this case, it's not Crawford's fault. But I'm just going to put that out there.
So let me give you another example of the WBC right now. So Lawrence Okolie
oh my God,
has one round of heavyweight action, and he goes straight to the top of the rankings. And you can say like he's the cruiserweight champion. He
but shout out to Aztec, who was on Twitter. No beef. We're just talking boxing, but he's telling me that we need these sanctioning. We need them to do the rankings.
Right.
See, doing a ranking is such a difficult task that nobody else can do it. Right? Yeah. Nobody is capable of looking at a database and coming up with a ranking system, right? Nobody does a better job, Calix, okay, at doing a top 10, top 25, top 50 than the sanctioning bodies. I mean, just look at them. The IBF has a 1 and 2 vacant, right? That's some genius shit. And some Japanese fight I never heard about is the best welterweight, according to them, behind only Boots Ennis, right? No, and Okolie's the number one.
Right, but there's a worse example. There's a worse example in that. Nurse Oltenov.
What nurse?
I always butcher his name. You know how I always butcher names. All right. 16 months inactive.
An RN or what? What do you mean nurse?
Nurse Oltenov. 16 months inactive. D-style hasn't fought in 16 months and jumps to the top of the rankings.
You don't understand.
Out of the blue. No, this needs to be highlighted. Out of the blue, he hasn't fought in 16 months and he jumps up the rankings to number one. Can somebody explain to me? No, somebody needs to explain to me how that happens. How does that happen?
If you're looking for an answer from me, I don't have it. But it's obvious to me it's corruption, right? Like that's what it is. Somebody paid somebody some form of money, some type of transaction happened, or some type of favor happened in order to make that happen.
No,
That's obvious.
There's no doubt about it. But these are the people we rely on for checks and balances.
Right.
Who are they checking and balancing? And how are people who seem to be as corrupt or even more so checking and balancing other people? Like, why would we trust them to do that? They jumped the guy. They did a similar thing with Keith Thurman a couple of years ago, but they jumped the guy who hasn't fought in 16 months. He jumps up in the rankings. How?
Yeah.
How does that happen? Explain it to me. And this isn't something new. This happens all the time, right? But I want to also highlight that there may have been a time, D-Style, when there are too many fighters for us to have a single rankings, and we just can't keep up with such things. And it just, bro, there's something called AI right now.
Mm-hmm.
We've been having computers who can do this. They have BCS rankings in football, right? And it's not perfect, and AI is not perfect. What I'm saying is it would be clearly better than this that has a guy jump up the rankings when he's 16 months in action.
Alex, like, let's just be honest. I can get our chat right now. We can all get together, as I will call them, the board of governors, right? And we could do a better job at ranking the fighters. You don't even need to go all super high tech.
Mhm.
I've seen fans like these. The Ring does a better job.
Yeah.
Like everybody does a better job, bro. Like, it's not, you don't need to be a specialist at it, right? We have the database from the commissions. The commissions already report the fights and the records, and they put it in the data, right? And they don't use the sanctioning bodies for that, right?
And
They use the information given to them, but it's they don't need it.
But it does. You can't do it even if you get the rankings perfect. If the sanctioning bodies allow a guy to not defend his belt for 1,000 days and keep it, how do you even? The guys down the rankings don't even get a shot. Carlos Adames had an interim for how long? And then the dude didn't even complain about it. Like, he was so weak. And then now he's bragging about being the champion.
Well, he was complaining about it, and then
he was told, somebody behind the scenes told him, "No, look, you need to quiet down."
Let me catch up with these super chats before we keep cooking here. We're right here. Jet lag Yeti get beat worse than Zurdo did. All right. He calls
Benavidez jet lag Yeti. So jet lag Yeti came about because the dude, he needed to catch that flight back from Saudi. You can't catch it too late because then he'll have too much jet lag, right? So it's weird that dude didn't stick around for the Bivol better be a fight. He had to catch that flight. That's really weird.
Right.
A lot of weird stuff going on in that orbit. That Bivol Benavidez better be of orbit. And like I said, I have theories.
So let me go ahead.
But I just don't. As far as that fight goes, let's say it happens. I do believe that Bivol outboxes him. I do, but Benavidez would make that fight fun.
I got you. So let me just get through this. I just don't want to forget super chat. Let me just get this really quick. HLD fight out super chats. Gordon Turkey Gecko is staging a hostile takeover of all boxing because greed is good. By the way, Mauricio, if you need a friend, get a dog. Holy shit! Throwing shots of sloppy Sulaiman, right? Can somebody explain to me?
No, look,
But let me say this. I need to say this. Aztec, you're like, I'm sorry, brother. What are you talking about? There's 20,000 active boxers. How do we know that? Because of BoxRec, not because of the sanctioning bodies. The sanctioning bodies just they only rank a certain amount of fighters. They don't rank thousands of them. BoxRec does that for the most part. Once you got to cut through the weeds, right, and make judgment calls on where a guy stands, 1, 2, 3, or 4, right? You can use a database and you can form it from there. It's not that difficult, dude. Everybody does it. If I sit down, everybody watching right now, if I sit them down and tell them to go ahead and do a ranking, they could do a better job at it than the WBC, bro. Like, it's not that complicated. To me, it's not that complicated.
I don't like your tone right now, D-Style, because one thing you need to understand is they have initiatives in Panama where they like help people and give back.
They give back.
That's number one. So they give back. They have initiatives, just like the Bloods and Crips have initiatives. They pass out turkeys on Thanksgiving Day in the back of U-Hauls, right? So you need to understand that these guys have initiatives and they care. Number two, you need to understand that they're a nonprofit. They're not a magazine that makes money. They're nonprofit, and they're about boxing. They're for boxing. And what you also need to understand is that they're checks and balances. So if you do have a B-side fighter that happens to get knocked down, and then a count starts, and then all of a sudden the count magically ends, and then somebody's face gets wiped in the middle of the round, he's supposed to get disqualified, and then magically the video goes down, replay video goes down, and then nobody does anything. That you need to understand that these people are around to make sure that that guy is taken care of. You need to understand that those people around, commissions, athletic commissions, and sanctioning bodies, they're the ones that take care of that corruption. If there's a corrupt referee, if video magically goes down, that's when the sanctioning bodies kick in for that checks and balances match.
Can I respond to this? They are connected to the. You need to listen, brother. They are connected to the promoter. They take bribes from the promoter, bro. They're not the third party system you think they are, dude. They're not. Like this is unbelievable to me that there's people that are over here caping, put on their capes for sloppy Sulaiman.
I'm gonna step in here, D-Style, and I'm a nice guy, but I think we need to run a tariff on Aztec. If from now on, if Aztec, look, some guys have wrenches in there. If Aztec sends a comment without doing a super chat going forward, that's gonna be his tax to get his comments recognized. He's gonna have to have a tariff from now on. But the guys, you have to realize there's a uniparty system at this point.
He thinks they're not
corruption. Okay. It's corruption extended. There may have been a time, like I said, when managers, promoters, power brokers were very corrupt, and we need some people around for those checks. And bro, they're all in on it now. Like I hate to break it to them. And I have a theory. I think a lot of this is younger guys. I think a lot of the guys who fall for the messaging, they're going to fall for the messaging right now. For those who can't spot it, I'm going to help you out. If you're on Twitter, if you're on YouTube and you're watching these content creators, if they're pushing Aliact, if they're pushing checks and balances, you know the terminology that's going around right now. Those are the ones to stay away from. You stay away from them right now. But the ones who fall into these traps, the messaging, the propaganda, I think it seems to be younger guys, 20s, younger, who have no perspective because they don't know anything from previous generations in boxing. But it's also the one sport fans too, guys who just follow boxing and they have no idea how corrupt it is as opposed to other sports. They just don't know. They don't know. Or just dumb. Like if you don't fall into those two, then you're falling for this stuff. Then it's just it's
so look. Let's whatever. But I don't really care where people want to fall in line. But if you're wrong, you're wrong. Like if you think sanctioning bodies are the same thing as a commission, I can't help you out. Like you know, if you don't want to say, you know what, I was wrong, you're right, I misunderstood what both things are and what they represent, then I can't go with that, right? I don't have time for that. Okay, it's as simple as that, right? If you want to put on the cape for sloppy Sulaiman, put it on. Right? If you want to be on the side of these corrupt organizations, do it. I don't care what anybody thinks about the sanctioning bodies. If you're all for them and you think they're good for boxing, whatever, bro. Then everyone go their own route. Believe what you want to believe. I really don't care at this point. All right?
No, but I want to make this clear. I don't have any grand predictions. I don't have any. I like I said, my only prediction is next 12 to 18 months. You're going to have a lot of these little firefights that are going on in this big war, right? And they're going to have these dust ups, right? And this is going to happen. And you're going to have the back and forth. So I don't have a grand prediction. And whether a 4-belt system comes out of this, 1-belt system comes out of this, whether it's the Saudis boxer league, whether the boxer league doesn't get off the ground, I want the fights. I want the fights to happen. I want a functional, sustainable sport, however that happens. But what I'm saying is I can't sit here. Number one, I'm not going to create some false reality that there are checks and balances in the sport. Like anybody who has a functioning brain knows that doesn't exist. And I don't care how many initiatives they run. You can run 1 million initiatives in Panama, helping needy kids, whatever you're claiming to do, right? You can go on as many podcasts as you want, trying to fluff yourself up. Bro, you had enough time. You had enough time to get things right. You had enough time to drop regular belts, interim belts. These dudes are doing damn. I still can't get over this. Benavidez versus Morrell was an interim unification bout. What in the hell is an interim unification bout? How in the hell do you have two guys go at it to see who is the ultimate interim champion?
Who's the ultimate?
What the hell is this? How in the hell does this guy, and they're still doing it like today, a guy who is 16 months inactive jumps the rankings to number 1. And then you have people saying, we need to keep these people around. We need to keep these people around. Dude, do whatever you want. 4 belts corrupt system, 1 belt corrupt system. Do whatever you want, bro. But I'll be damned if I'm going to cry if these dudes go away.
Let me cook for a little bit here. Let me say this. What you guys need to understand, right, is that from a fight fan's perspective, I just want the fights. That's what I want. Right? I want the best to fight the best. That's what I've been talking about for years already. All right? That's what I've been talking about. If I get that, I don't give a shit about anything else. I'm just gonna. You could say whatever you want, right? I just want the best to fight the best. I want to see great fights. Now the response has been, well, we don't need that. No, look at the last 18 months. Look at the last 2 years. No, look at what they're doing. The WBC and all these organizations, they've all got it together. They're working together and they're making all these fights. We don't need any of that. Yeah, but all that was done with Saudi Arabian money.
Yep.
Without the Saudis, we don't have that. Don't you guys understand? Don't you get it? That this is a sinking ship, or it was a sinking ship, and the Saudis came around, and every single promoter, Turkey came along, and he saved the sport, Turkey, and all this other shit, right? Don't you understand? They all turned themselves into sugar babies for sugar daddy, but now they want to tell sugar daddy how to spend his money. No, sugar daddy, don't do that. Don't spend money on them, sugar daddy. Spend it on me, sugar daddy. Not him. Not Dana. Dana's a bad person. You don't get to tell, like, what I'm trying to get through all your thick skulls, anybody who's not listening, is that none of these people are in a position to tell Turkey what to do with his money or the Saudi Arabian money. They're not. You're not in the position of power. You're the sugar baby. All right. And he let it simmer long enough for the whole world to witness how big of ass kissers all of you are. Sulaiman, sloppy Sulaiman was the sloppiest one of all. Got on his knees for him and everything. I believe in him and this is good for him. Like I'm done with this shit, bro. Now, Aztec, I never once did I insult you.
Never.
I never insulted you. I simply said a fact that a sanctioning body is different to a commission. And when you finally just concede that that's the truth, then I'll continue the conversation with you. Till then, I'm sorry, brother, you need to concede facts. Or else, I don't know what else to tell you. That's all I've said.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I've just been seeing also some really weirdo stuff from content creators when it comes to disrespecting the Saudis. And look, man, cheer for whoever you want, whatever you want. As long as I'm getting the fights, that's fine. But saying stuff like some of the stuff they're saying, like calling him Aladdin, just making fun of rag on his head and stuff like this, disrespecting fighters that go over there and saying, well, now you're not Christian. You're not Christian now that you go over there. You're scared. I haven't seen that, by the way. I haven't seen that happening. Dudes are still over there in Saudi, thanking Jesus after a fight, if that's what you're worried about, right? And it's not. Of course it's not. These guys are all frauds, right? But this is the type of stuff there's just really weirdo behavior. And then they'll gaslight and they'll say, oh, you just don't want this fight over there with the PBC. Bro, make the fight. Bivol Benavidez is a great fight. But what I need you to understand is this. Be careful what you're cheering for, because if Bivol Benavidez is made in Saudi D-style, how much is that? How much is that pay-per-view? It's $25.
Yeah.
How good is the undercard? Pretty damn good undercard, right? You get Bivol Benavidez over here. How much is the pay-per-view? $80 plus tax. How good is the undercard? Likely. It's likely terrible. At best, a C-, right?
If we're lucky, decent.
Right? But I'm supposed to cheer.
But if you get Pitbull Cruz, you gotta admit, you get Pitbull Cruz on the card. Now we're talking.
I'm supposed to cheer for it to be over here because of Aladdin over there, and he holds people's hands and he's a weirdo and stuff like this. Look, man, I'll criticize the hell out of the Saudis when they do stuff wrong. I don't like the May 2nd through May 4th cards. I just don't. I think they're showcase fights. I didn't like Eminem doing a 20-minute Can you please get this washed up dude out of here? Like, nobody's cared about Eminem.
Hey, whoa.
Out of here, right? Nando loved it. Nando was there. He enjoyed the hell out of it. Get Eminem the hell out of here, man. Get on with the fights. But they've shown that
you only get one shot. Don't miss your chance to blow. Your opportunity comes. Let
me be completely honest with you too. To hell with PBC. I'm never tried to hide my hatred for the PBC. Get them the hell out of here. They burnt bridge after bridge after bridge. They've done terrible things for the sport of boxing in America. To hell with them. Go away. So if you think I'm one of these biased people against the yes, I am, in fact. To hell with them. Go away. But if the fight happens at the PBC, I'll buy the fight. Bivol Benavidez, that's a hell of a fight. But I'm not expecting the PBC to get anything off the ground. You're just mad because Al Heyman's still around. I don't care. The dude had 5 fights last year. 5.
Jesus Christ.
And then 2 of them were funded by the Australians. 5. Amazon gave him $0, despite what y'all are lying about. $0. And let me say this too. 5. D-style. 5 cards they had. 5.
I got 5.
D-style, it was last year. The messaging was, never count out Al Heyman. Never. He just got this galactic deal with Amazon and 100 billion subscribers, right? And that's gonna translate to billions of views, right? And all this stuff. And then nothing happens, and they're like, Al Heyman's on his deathbed. And I'm like, what? The dude's dying? It was like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. These styles like, pray for Al Heyman, pray for Al Heyman. I heard he had a liver transplant. I heard he had a heart attack. I heard he had a stroke and seizures, right? And then and Al Heyman's dying. And then all of a sudden, a fight gets signed, and they're like, Al Heyman's back. I heard
he's back in the mix.
He's back in the mix.
He's coming back with a vengeance. Duval Grind MMA. I ranked tank number 6 just to piss him off. Man, hey, shout out to you, brother. I appreciate it. Calix, hate to end it, but I guess we both, I got something, so I'm sure you do too. But let me say this before your final thoughts, right? Mm-hmm. Let me make sure I want to be as clear as possible, right? It wasn't that long ago a lot of these same dudes I'm seeing in these spaces were accusing Mauricio Sulaiman of trying to murder Deontay Wilder. All right? All right? It wasn't that long ago because they thought Glovegate was real. All right? So, like, now he's the savior. Sloppy Sulaiman is going to save the day now. Right?
Avengers unite. We got a dude over here who looks like Aladdin, and Dana White's in the picture now. Oh my God, we gotta unite. Everybody unite. Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya. Everybody lock arms. We are the world.
Do you remember? By the way, do you remember? Right when like, bro, like this happens a lot, right? Like it's right now. They're not mad that an entity, and by the way, I'm not talking about everybody, right? But there's a segment of people, right, that they're not mad that TKO was coming in and trying to create a league, and the Turkey Saudi money's behind it. They're not mad at that. They're like, it's not the principle of it, is what I'm trying to say. It's not the principle of somebody trying to create a monopoly and coming in. How dare they? That's not what it is. They're mad that Al Heyman isn't able to do it. Right? Because when Al Heyman was trying, when he had the big deal, $800 million, which he fucking pissed away, all of a sudden, it's all about PBC and free
racks.
Remember when they started, it was not about pay-per-view, and it was about how, like, we're gonna kill pay-per-view. It's free on network TV and this and that, and we're not gonna have any belts. And no, remember, the belts weren't even allowed in the ring, and they wanted to monopolize. They stole they took the fighters from Oscar De La Hoya. They were trying to monopolize the business, and when they had the big, you know what I mean, they couldn't stop puffing out their chests, and PBC is where it's at. Like, you know what I mean? But they just don't like the fact that Al Heyman didn't do it. That's what it is at the end of the day. They loved the idea of it. They just didn't like the idea of Al Heyman not being able to do it. All right? Final thoughts, Alex. Shout out to the chat, by the way. You guys have been great today.
This is how cults act, right? It's isolate, then take over. And boxing fans are in a lot, like, they're in a bubble, they're isolated, and they don't understand how insane their talking points sound, especially to people on the outside, especially when you try to explain this stuff to a non-boxing fan, and then they'll think the non-boxing fan is dumb. It's like, no, bro, you're the one that's dumb. You don't realize that you're the one that's in the cult, bro. You're the one that's in the cult, not them. They broke out of it. You're in there. But they repeat talking point after talking point. So, like you said, it was free boxing for all at the beginning. Belts don't matter. Then it's pay-per-views. We're all in for pay-per-view. And if you want to see your favorite, how many times were we told this, right? If you want to see your favorite fighter fight, you got to pay for the pay-per-view. You got to pay for the pay-per-view if you want to see your favorite fighter fight. So, by the way, these people who are cheering for that fight to be over at the PBC, and once again, it's gaslighting, right? You guys just don't like it. Dude, I'm not complaining. Have it over at the PBC if you want. That's fine. I'm just telling you what your options are, and it would have been better over here, but go ahead and do it. But then they're the ones that are celebrating that it's not over there. Not me.
Unbelievable.
Not me.
I mean,
they're telling me, D-Style, why do you care where the fights happen? Why do you care where the fight? You're the one celebrating that it's not over there. You're the one doing that, right? This is cultish behavior. And now they're going to start the talking points, and they're going to repeat them. They're going to repeat their chants, and it's going to be Ali Act. Ali Act. Ali Act. Checks and balances. Checks and balances. Belts matter. Belts matter. Belts matter. Belts matter. Quality control. Work together. Work together. Cross promotion. Work together. This is going to be their talking points, and their talking points are the exact opposite of what they were yesterday. The exact opposite. Animal Farm was about this, right? They'll just it's psychology. They're in a cult. They will chant the talking points. They will repeat it, and they don't understand how dumb they are. They don't get it.
Look, we're
now
going to
it's going to be freestyle. It's going to be Kumbaya. It's going to be, we are the world. We are the children. We want peace treaties. We want to lock arms now. All because Aladdin and Dana White, they're two biggest enemies for whatever reason. Aladdin and Dana White are in the building, and we got to get them out. We got to get them out.
So look, it still amazes to me that people would say things like, "Oh, you're just making that up." Nobody's saying that. We're like, literally, there's plenty of people saying that, right? So I'm not gonna like it's whatever. We've been arguing with these people for a while, so it's whatever, right? There are other people, Calix, outside of the cults and stuff like that have like I don't know, like I guess an invested, that they're, how can I say it? They're traditionalists. They like things the way they are. They like the idea of all the belts. So they have no interest in, I guess, changing the status quo. There's people that just don't like change, right? So there's also a lot of those, and there's also a lot of fans that are good-minded fans that are just brainwashed. That's what it is at the end of the day. We just have a bunch of brainwashed individuals that, for whatever reason, think the way they think, and we're going to have to deprogram them in some way, shape, or fashion, or just start to outnumber them because there's not that many of you. I don't know if you guys know, there's not a lot of boxing fans out there, right? So if you start getting outnumbered, don't feel too lonely, all right? You'll be like that song, Society, you lonely breed. Hope you're not lonely without me, society. Anyway, with that said, shout out to make sure you hit the like button before we get the hell out of here. Number one, right? And anything else, Alex?
No, I'm good. I still have my theories on Bivol. Better be it, but I'll save them because I think there's stuff going on behind the scenes. But what I would urge you to do is just hold off on that because it may mirror the Canelo news cycle of last time.
So and another thing, and I gotta say this, okay? I never said Dana's rankings were perfect. I never. Let's see, the art of putting words in people's mouths, and that doesn't work over here. All right? If I say something, you want to challenge it, that's fine, right? Never have I said, I've clearly stated multiple times that I have my reservations about a lot of these things, but we're addressing it a day at a time, right? And if TKO at some point in the future does some fucked up shit that we don't agree with, guess what? I'm going to speak on it.
Yeah.
Right? If it's not working, guess what? I'm going to come out and say, hey, man, this shit ain't working. Right? I'm going to go by the evidence is what I'm going to go by. Right? But what I'm not going to do is if you want to go tell Turkey what to do with the Saudi money, go ahead and do it. Okay? You want to join the sugar babies? Like, no, sugar daddy, please don't spend it on us. Give us the money. Like Paulie Malignaggi's like, no, keep giving us the money. Why are you giving it to Dana? Dana's bad. We good. Give us the money. That's not you're not in that position, bro. Right? You're just not. Simple as that. Mm-hmm. With that said.
Yep. No, I was going to say at the end of that video too, Paulie says there are checks and balances, Dana. You can't do that stuff over here. First of all, no, there's not. But number two, if there are checks and balances, Paulie, then guess what? You don't have to worry about it.
You don't got to worry about it.
Checks and balances will check and balance. Dana White comes in the door. So, Paulie, don't worry about it, bro. If your precious checks and balances actually exist, then you're fine. You're fine, bro.
That's right. And one thing I'll say is that here in my city, right? A lot of my coworkers, a lot of my neighbors, even family, always do UFC fight parties. Very rarely do they do boxing parties, fight parties now, right? So you tell me, for all the people that are over here, UFC's not doing good. Look at the Did you see them laughing because that one guy? I forget. Like, I don't follow UFC like that, but I kind of do. But I forget the name of the guy that just lost. But like, that's the mindset of the boxing fan. They're like, see, one of his stars just lost. Dana doesn't know what he's doing. He actually puts them in fights that they could lose. Fucking idiots. They don't know how you're supposed to do that. That's not how you do it. You're supposed to put them in there with a 31 underdog. right? And then when they don't actually win, you find a way to screw them over, and you don't do a checks and balance on it. That's what you're supposed to do.
When's the last time you went to a bar and saw a boxing match on?
We don't see it anymore. It doesn't happen. It's sad.
Every bar
Everybody
you
knows
go
the sport of losing. It's sad how unpopular it is. And it's even more sad seeing boxing fans all smug and shit. UFC ain't popular. They don't have any stars. Like I remember Randy Couture. Like give me a fucking break. Every one of you have friends that watch UFC and they don't watch boxing. Every single fucking one of you have it. We don't play pretend over here, right? But we don't do that over here. Not over here. Anyway, anything else, guys, before we roll this one out?
No. Where's the boxing matches at the bar rooms? Where'd they go? Maybe Aladdin and Dana could get them back. Maybe Aladdin could get them back, right? Who knows? Aladdin. I love it. Yeah. These guys are weirdos. Weirdos.
Right. But if you say the truth, or you're just hating on boxing. I was on a Boxing Voice one time, like telling them, like, bro, like you guys are like talking about 200,000 buys, like that's supposed to impress me. Like that makes a star. And the dude on the Boxing Voice was telling me, but you're supposed to uplift the sport. Uplift it. Maybe if you uplift it, then and you say they're a star, that makes them a star. I'm like, that's not the way it works.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Stars just star. Look at the sky, you see a fucking star. We need
to do some initiatives. I think that's what we need to do. We need to do some initiatives. 100%. We need to fly to Panama and do some initiatives, and then do some podcasts where we can fluff ourselves up, our image. So I think that's what we need to do.
100%. All right. With that said, guys, this is the style. All right. For Calix, and shout out to everyone watching on the X for Calix Boxing. Subscribe to the channel if you like the channel. Hit the notification that way you're notified every time we come on live. We are out of here.
Almost 400 on X today. Appreciate everybody that tuned in.
Jesus Christ.
Appreciate it.
Amazing.
God bless.
Peace out, guys.
11.